that tape that's always running, that voice that's always like
Yeah.
chattering,
Hmm.
it was gone.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was at first quite odd because, that's how we operate. But then it was like, this is awesome because there is no mind chatter anymore.
Hmm.
Mm.
And I think for me, and then there was a car accident, and
More
then
stuff.
whatever happens
Yeah.
after that, But the point is that it took away that, for me, that mind chatter.
Yeah.
And if that was all it did for me,
Hmm.
then it was well worth it.
Yeah.
God, I'd say that's well worth it for anybody because the mind chatter's, always there, ever present. For some
Yeah.
people, they can't even shut it off.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Well, there's the bars is the first class, and then for me, I wanted to become a bars facilitator. So that meant that I had to take 3 bars classes, one from each one from a different facilitator, and then within a year take these 2 other classes. One's foundation, and then the next one is level 1. And typically take the foundation. So I took the bars class in a row. And by the end of those 3 days, a friend came to pick me up to take me to the train. And I'm sitting there just saying, oh my God, like I felt like, because I'd been on a
We're having a little technical
yeah.
difficulty.
retreat in the past, and you know what that's like, just sitting and you got so I'd been to a Vipassana retreat in the past, and you're toughing it out, knowing that by the end you're going to feel happy about it, but in the first while it's really sucks. And but in 3 days of great, very much enjoyment, I had the same results of just no mind, as Roger was saying, and just feeling spacious and happy and joyful and excited about life. And I mean, I usually am, but even more. And just as an anecdote, my aunt, who's known me since I was 6 years old, we were hanging out together a couple summers ago, and she said, I've known you all this time. I've witnessed all your ups and downs and all the different things that you've done. And she said, and you've always seem to be progressing in your life. She said, but since you've done the access bars, you're really different, like very different. And I think the biggest thing was just the whole drop, like total dropping of my upset around any part of my upbringing and what, who did what and who didn't do what and all of those kinds of things. And so she was able to reflect back to me, yeah, I see something's really different from here. Now, another thing I've witnessed is that people, even in their first bars class, I've witnessed people because what you'll do is you pair up, and one person will give bars and to practice, and then the other one's receiving, and then you take a little break, and then the other person goes. And people having huge changes in their bodies. For instance, this one gal, she gets up from her session, and her very first bar session, and we're sitting, she had laid there for a while, and she came to join us. And it's very obvious that she's not paying one bit of attention to what we're saying. We're just kind of hanging out and having snacks. And finally she says, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been paying attention. And I smiled and I said, I know, it's okay. And she goes, I'm smelling things. And I said, well, cool, that's great, She said, no, you don't understand. I had a major car accident and my nose got mangled, and I have not been able to smell anything for over 9 years.
That's amazing.
That's
And
crazy.
she didn't even say coming into class, well, I want to get my nose back. It just happened. Her body was willing to receive that then. And another gal who'd always had a very severe sway back, like her, how the little gymnasts land and they kind of throw their arms up and they stick their bum out, like her back was her like that. And she had her very first bar session is practice in class. And she got up and she just went, oh. And I said, what, are you okay? And she said, yeah, my spine just adjusted myself and I don't have my sway back anymore. And
Wow.
when she went home that night, her partner was standing next to her after dinner, and they were just hanging out on their balcony. And he said, "Whoa, what happened to you?" And she said, "What?" And he said, "Your back, it's changed." And she said, "Yeah, that just happened in class today." So, what's going to happen for you is what's going to happen for you. But I love the ease of it, because you can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
And you can get a lot better at it. So I've just witnessed, and little children can do it, and senior citizens, and just, the whole gamut of people. And it opens up so many more possibilities for people. So I'm endlessly excited about it, and the possibilities of what else can happen for me and everybody else. It just keeps growing.
Yeah, it sounds magical, actually. I love those little stories. So now tell us about your role as a holistic health educator. Is that partially teaching people how to do this bars or access consciousness, or is that something completely different?
Well, it's everything, So, and I've been able to utilize it a lot in First Nations and Aboriginal communities, doing community development work, and so working with the band administrations and different agencies within the band government to assist them in coming together and reclaiming their ability to work together in a cohesive way. We had our ways and our structures in the old days before the government got involved, and then that all got exploded. And then this whole band and chief and council system got set up, which is totally antithetical to anything that our people ever did. But then this is the structure, and this is the way that people have to do it, but it doesn't work so well. So then coming in and guiding them and reclaiming their ability to do that in a way that really serves themselves and their people. And, so I've done things like even just teaching about natural foods, cooking with organic foods and things. I mean, because these folks just what do you do in a bulk food section in a health food store, or because a lot of people, I mean, sadly, many of the reservations and reserves, they call them in Canada, are third world country conditions. Not all of them everywhere, but many of them are, or certain, segments of the population are just really in dire straits and very much suffering. So being able to teach them how to eat in a healthy way that isn't too expensive, or how to move their bodies in a way that, it's not, I don't know, like Fitbox, or, I don't know, all of those different things, but it doesn't have to be crazy fitness. It's just
like PX90.
Yeah, PX90, that's the one.
Which I'm doing right now.
Good for you. It's just that, that's not for everybody. And so how can you move, and how can you make your way of life be exercise, and how can you because that's how we lived in the old days. Our way of life was our exercise, and our people were fit, and there's this famous story about this one guy, I don't know, military man saying to this chief, "Oh, well, we'll move your people in these wagons, because it's a great long, and move them closer to something where they want to go." And the chief, because he said it's a far distance, to walk to go to this place. And the chief said, "We walk half that way just because we enjoy walking." It's not a big deal, you guys. So just a different point of view.
Yeah.
And so just, the label of holistic health educator is, they chose that label as a way of opening up doors of possibility, so that anything that I'm interested in pretty much fits within that label. And so I've done a lot of counseling and coaching and mentoring and those sorts of things with that.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really like that title.
Yeah.
or that, that little, it just means it really is open to being anything that you determine is holistic and healing.
Yes. Well, and also education. One of the things I learned in my Catholic schooling was about learning to look up the meanings of words, the etymologies. And the word education comes from the ancient Latin word educare, which wasn't, you're an empty little nothing and we'll pour all this important stuff in you, and then you'll get your diploma because you're full of all of the right stuff now. It was more, it actually means to lead forth or to draw out from, which presupposes that there's already something in there that we can invite to come out. And so it's a way of setting up a situation in which a person can, learn something, but also contribute what they already know, maybe from a different angle. So you see a lot of the young people, whether they're small children or young adults, coming up with some really fascinating new inventions. And they're not even, grown-up scientists yet, but they're just seeing the world in a different way, and they're being willing to explore that, and actually, the art of life. A lot of us got shut down in our elementary school years of, you're not an artist. There's one girl in the class who's the artist and the rest of you suck, basically. But we're all artists and we're all educators and we all have that capacity. And so it's, encouraging each other to bring it out. And so that's what I love doing.
Great. So
Great.
as well as your role as an educator, are you also a personal practitioner? So you're also seeing clients or people on an individual basis?
I do that too, yes. And I don't always have a lot of time for doing that. So, people have to schedule in, pretty well in advance. But, and then I also like to, reach more people, so doing larger groups and things I really appreciate and enjoy. But, whatever works, I'm just excited about it all.
Wherever the work puts you, it's where you are, right?
Yeah, pretty much, and I do, like, for a while I was teaching ballet too, and so I got to work with the little tiny kids, the 3 and 4 year olds, and all the way up to the, I even had some senior citizens in the adult classes and things, and I love that. It's just I travel around so much, it's kind of hard for me to, be able to just stay put in one place and do that anymore. But I miss hanging out with the little kiddos. So I'm just asking the universe, well, what would it take for me to get to play with some more little ones again?
Have your kids have kids? Then you have grandchildren.
Well, I do. Yeah, my grandson is going to be 2 years old in a few months here. So
I can't imagine he wants to do ballet, but
No, it doesn't have to be that, but it's just hanging out and playing. It's just fun. Yeah.
So if people wanted to get a hold of you or find out more about you, give us an idea of what your website is or how people could reach you.
Oh, sure. My website is called medicinewheelsandmore.com.
Medicine Wheels, more than one, right?
Yes, wheels. Medicine Wheels and More.
And more.com.
And more.com, right. So We're doing medicine wheels and we're doing a whole lot more. And as a matter, and it's been great because my next door neighbor, I taught her how to do bars, and she's got a background in doing a lot of, personal development and transformational work. So she and I are going to be doing some courses. She does a thing called Change Your Life, Change Your Story. Which is really exciting, which is developed by another mutual friend. And so then I'm going to also do an access body process in conjunction with that to make it even easier for people to drop their story, which is really exciting. And then my dear sister friend, Brooke Medicine Eagle, and I are going to do some courses over the summer. So that's really exciting as well.
Are you coming back to our part of the world?
Yes, I will be back over on the wet coast. Hopefully, it'll continue to be wet. When we had snow the other day, I was sending some good vibes over to you guys to have more.
We've had rain all week.
Yeah, snow and rain.
Nice.
Yay! And so I'll be back over there in Bellingham and probably Seattle and Carnation. There's a lovely place that I go in Carnation, and looking at doing some events over there as well. And then also I'm going to Machu Picchu for the June solstice this year with my brother Heyoka Merrifield. He's been on a number of the Power Place tours in the past, and so we got invited to go and do a summer solstice or winter solstice for them down there, but a solstice ceremony for the solstice this year.
Nice.
So, very exciting. Yeah.
Have you ever been there before?
I haven't, but I met a Peruvian shaman about 4 years ago up at the indigenous International Indigenous Leadership Conference up in British Columbia, and he said, "Have you been to Peru yet?" And I said, "No." And so he handed me some tobacco from down there, and tobacco is it's considered the highest medicine, even more than ayahuasca or peyote or anything, because of the medicine that it conveys your prayers. And he handed me this tobacco and he said, "You're coming to Peru." And I said, "Okay, thank you. I'll receive that."
Yay.
So yeah, so it looks like just took 4 years, but it's all good. Yeah.
It's only time.
It's only time, just we're traveling anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah. Very true. Very good.
Very true.
Roger, is there anything else you wanted to ask Susan before we close up for today?
No, I think I'm good for now. It's been a great interview.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's been great having you on, and I'm glad that you chose to do this and join us.
Well, I'm really glad that you were, felt inspired to invite me to come on, because it's just always great to offer these gifts to the world. A lot of people don't know about some of these things, and so, or maybe they've heard weird things about access, or they kind of had an idea somewhere, something about that circle medicine wheel thing, But just to get a little bit more,
or even Catholic school,
or Catholic school, yes. Well, there's always that.
Takeaway message today: hierarchies suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and maybe also just that, you are the gift, and we chose to come here to be this gift, and each one of us has many gifts within us. And so what would it be? What would it take? Here's the invitation. What would it take for you and me and all of us to just unpack these gifts and really offer them to the world? Because, it'd be kind of suck to be taking the last breath in that body and go, "Oh, snap, I could have been really having a lot more fun.
I shoulda, coulda, woulda."
Yeah, let's not end up like that. Let's have more fun now.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Susan, thank you so much for joining us today on Empower You TV. We have enjoyed your presence, your wisdom, and I'm really fascinated by Access Consciousness now. I have to check this out.
Oh, good.
Find out more about it. And Roger, thanks for, as always, being my guest host here. And for everybody listening to us today, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions that you have of Susan, you can reach her at www.medicinewheelsandmore.com. And if you want to find out more about programming, you can find us, empowerutv.org. Thank you all, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Roger.
Bye, Susan. Bye, Roger.
Bye, guys.